Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Muskan Agarwal and we have a very special guest Ruchika with us. So she is a university recruiter at Microsoft and comes with years of experience, and she has interviewed so many people. So in this particular video I am going to ask the very common question asked in an HR interview, that what are your weaknesses. I'm going to ask her what an interviewer actually looks for and what should be the appropriate answer. So yes, make sure you watch this video till the end. So now the next very common question is, what are your weaknesses? Again, I'll put up the same question, that when a recruiter is asking this question, what is he or she looking for? Like, what do you want to know about a student?
Again, this is also one of the questions that is not my favorite, and I think I never asked this question as well because I feel it's not fair, to ask somebody to talk about what is it that they're not good at. And I know there are various ways that people tackle it. Thankfully, I've never been asked this question. Thank God. I hope I don't ever get asked this question because there are so many weaknesses and it's almost embarrassing, right? But a lot of people have their theories, wherein they change their strengths to weaknesses and then they present it, or they say, some very vague weakness which probably is not that weak. But my way of answering, this particular question is talk about whatever is your weakness. Be upfront and be transparent and talk about that weakness. Tell them that this is my weakness. However, you also need to give a counter to that weakness, right? So just sharing your weakness and saying, Acha, this is my weakness and that's it doesn't work. You need to also build a story around how do you overcome that weakness, and that's what they're looking for. So, for
Yes.
example, I'll give you an example, and this is actually something that I face. So, one of my weaknesses is that I have very bad memory. And to the point that I tend to forget things, which means that doesn't hold me back in my work. What instead I start doing is I am always on top of things. So as soon as there is a mail that has hit my inbox, I try and ensure that I respond to it immediately. Like I don't sit and wait, and because I know that I'll forget responding to it later. So basically, my weakness of being weakness of being very very having bad memory has helped me in making sure that I overcome it by being diligent and being on top of things, right? So that's how you present your weakness and also talk about how do you overcome that weakness. Another way of probably presenting it could be, say I do not get up early at on time, or probably I'm always late, right? So I'll never come on time at office, which means that if I'm never on time, I'll always make sure that I make up for that time by staying a little extra when it comes to meeting a certain task or certain things. That could be another way of showing your weakness, and how are you able to overcome it. So it's always good that you talk about your weakness, but also talk about how what do you do in order to overcome. See, sharing your weakness is good, but like at the end of the day, you need to understand that the person asking that question is there is a reason, which is how do you overcome your weakness? That is the main agenda. So whenever you're formulating an answer, make sure that you answer that particular question.
I have heard many people say that I'm a perfectionist, so I whatever task is given to me, I do it with utmost perfection. So, like,
Yeah.
should we answer like that, or like this is not what a recruiter is looking for?
No, no. So that's like saying, hey, I'm Iron Man, and well, I can do anything, and so that's like showing off. That's not what we're looking for, and definitely, I think one more advice is do not come across as overconfident and like like for example, I'm a perfectionist kind of an answer is not going to take you far. So try and avoid using terms like perfectionist, and I'm like really good at this, because that's not your weakness. Being a perfectionist is your strength. And if you're kind of doing that opposite thing and whatever, don't do that, because HRs are very good at catching that. So if it's weakness, then talk about your weakness. If they're asking about your strength, then talk about your strength. Don't swap it, because then they have counter questions to make sure how to kind of catch you. Yeah.
Yes, being honest is, I think, the most important thing.
Yeah.
Even also, suppose I say that I'm very bad at time management. Maybe this is the most honest thing, but it might backfire. Like they will say that if you're so bad at time management, then how are you going to manage and everything? So can it backfire sometimes?
Definitely can. Like for example, when I talked about that I have bad memory, it can definitely they can push back saying that okay, but then how do you manage multiple tasks if you have bad memory? So then what do I say is, well, I make lists. I believe in being very very proper when it comes to creating lists and creating my to dos, which helps me be on track of whatever it is that I need to do. In your case, what was it that you spoke about just now? What
Time
is it that you're
management.
time management? So which means that again, you what you need to do is basically list. You need to quantify how much time you will spend on each activity and be a little diligent about it. Have your Excel sheets or whatever whatever that you use, and that's how you'll have to basically give the solution as well. So be ready with the solution, and these questions will be thrown at you for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Definitely have these questions prepared beforehand, unless and until, like, these are very common questions, I think.
Yeah.
So, any three red flags in an interview? Like, if any three things you have to tell that do not do these things in an interview.
Yeah, I think the first thing would be don't ask for feedback immediately after the interview is over. A lot of people do that, and it's such a turn off for the interviewer because it's not polite. It's not proper. The interviewer needs some time to mull things over, and obviously they will not share their feedback with you. So do not do that because it also comes across as being desperate. So that will be my number one advice. The second advice would be, you know, be authentic. A lot of times people have or try and do things which is not them. And especially a lot of times people who are interviewing you are very very senior people, right? I'm not just talking about HR is a different story. Like even hiring managers or people that will interview in the last rounds, they have a lot of experience. So if you're trying to fake something, trust me, you will get caught, and you don't want that to be the reason for your rejection. So make sure that your authentic self through and through, and you don't need to pretend to be somebody or something that you are not. Trust me, if you're your authentic self, and if that is the job for you, and if that is the organization for you, they will take you irrespective of you probably not being a stellar candidate. There are certain things, and I you should probably, and probably I'll share it as a third thing, that as freshers, the expectation from freshers is not that they know everything. Everybody will start their journey at some point in time, and not everybody will be like 100%, and which is fine. So even the interviewers that are interviewing you, they know that you will not be 100%. There will be things that you will lack, but how is it that you can are basically, how can we help you be better? So don't be under the impression that I don't, probably there were six questions thrown at you and I only answered five correctly. And probably the sixth one I tried and I didn't succeed at it. That's fine as well. Because, not everybody, we don't want everybody to come in and be like a great stellar performer. Of course, you will have your journeys, and, there'll be average and below average people as well. And that's absolutely fine. So it's okay. You don't have to put too much pressure on yourself every time that you're interviewing. Just be cool about it.
Yes, definitely. And that one that you mentioned, that do not need to know 100%. Like, students think that if they messed up one question now, the chances of getting selected in an
Yeah,
interview is just, I think that is
yeah.
not the case. Okay, these were all the questions from my side. Thank you so much for doing this. I hope it helps a lot of students who are, giving their planning to give their HR interviews or have their HR interviews lined up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it helps all of you in, future interviews or whatever interviews you have lined up. And yes, definitely, if you like the video, please do not forget to give it a like, share it with your friends, and also subscribe to my channel. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.